कृपा अंजन पायो मेरे भाई, राम बिना कछु देखत नाही। कृपा अंजन पायो मेरे भाई, राम बिना कछु देखत नाही। कृपा अंदर राम बाहर रामा, अंदर राम बाहर रामा, जहाँ देखो सो राम ही राम, जहाँ देखो सो राम ही राम, जहाँ देखो सो राम ही राम। कृपा अंजन पायो मेरे भाई, राम बिना कछु देखत नाही। कृपा जागत राम सोवत रामा, जागत राम सोवत रामा, सपनों में देखो राजाधिराम, सपनों में देखो राजाधिराम, सपनों में देखो राजाधिराम। कृपा अंजन पायो मेरे भाई, राम बिना कछु देखत नाही। कृपा एका जनार्दनी भावहीनी का, एका जनार्दनी भावहीनी का, जो देखो सो राम सरीका, 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 जो देखो सो राम सरीका। कृपा अंजन पायो मेरे भाई, राम बिना कछु देखत नाही। कृपा
सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ Shanti Shanti Shanti. Prostrations to one and all. So in the last class, we were seeing the meaning of Shanti mantra. So from this class onwards, we will enter into the text proper. Before we enter into this first verse of Kathopanishad, let us briefly see the commentary written by Bhagavān Shankarāchārya as an introduction to Kathopanishad. So Bhagavān Shankarāchārya begins his commentary by saying, rather by prostrating unto the teacher and the student of Kathopanishad. So the teacher of Kathopanishad is Lord Yamaraj, Lord Death, and the student is Nachiketa. So Bhagavān Shankarāchārya begins his commentary by prostrating not only to the teacher but also to the student. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahmavidyāchārya Nachiketa Secha. So all this Sanskrit which I am reading, it is from Gītā Press, Gorakhpur. So those who are interested, they may refer to that book. There is a Shankara Bhashya text in Sanskrit, so which contains the commentary of Bhagavān Shankarāchārya in Sanskrit. But it is not necessary for our class. But I will be referring to it whenever we find something interesting. So therefore, so the commentary of Bhagavan begins with this prostration. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahmavidyāchārya Nachiketa Secha. My prostrations, Bhagavān Shankarāchārya says, my prostrations unto Mrityu, death. Who is he? Bhagavate, he is Bhagavan, Lord himself. Lord Yamaraj, my prostration unto him. Who is he? Vaivasvataya, the son of Vivasvan. Who is Vivasvan? Surya Devata is called Vivasvan. In Bhagavad-gītā chapter 4 also we find this term. Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam. 4th chapter begins like this. So Vivasvan means Surya Devata. So Vaivasvata means son of Surya Devata. So my prostration unto Lord Yamaraj, who is the son of Surya Devata and who is Brahmavidyāchārya. He is the Acharya of Brahmavidya in this particular Upanishad. My prostration unto him. Nachiketa Secha, my prostration unto the student Nachiketa also. Maybe this is the only place where Bhagavān Shankarāchārya has prostrated not only to the teacher but also to the student. Now here is something important, worth mentioning. So glory of Nachiketa was such that he is worth prostration. What is the glory of Nachiketa? Whatever qualifications are necessary to gain this Brahmavidya, to gain this spiritual knowledge, Nachiketa had it in full measure. When we see this story which is going to come, we will see that. So what are the qualifications necessary for Brahmavidya? I am sure we all must be knowing. They are called as sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. So they come in Tattvabodha. So what are sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, the fourfold qualifications necessary? So viveka, discrimination, vairagya, dispassion, shamadhi shatka sampattihi, the sixfold virtues of the mind, shama, dama, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam, and mumukshutvam, the desire for liberation. So these are the qualifications necessary to gain this Brahmavidya, and Nachiketa had it in full measure. This was the glory of Nachiketa, and that is exactly the reason why Bhagavān Shankarāchārya offers prostration even to the student. Nachiketa should be our role model. So this is how Bhagavān Shankarāchārya begins his commentary. So this line we will chant in the beginning of every class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahmavidyāchārya Nachiketa Secha. Our prostrations also to this great teacher and ideal student. Then Bhagavan goes on to define the term Upanishad. So what does Upanishad mean? So Bhagavan says, Upanishad Shabdena Vidya Uchyate. By this term Upanishad, what it means is knowledge. Upanishad means knowledge. Bhagavan, how can you say Upanishad is knowledge? So therefore Bhagavan explains that this Upanishad term has got three sub-terms. What are the terms? Upa plus Ni plus Sat equal to Upanishad. Upa, Ni, Sat. Bhagavan, what is the meaning of these terms? So Upa means Upagamya, Upasadya, approaching, going near. This is the meaning Upa. Ni. Ni means Nishthataya, Nischayena. Nishthataya, with Nishtha, with great sincerity. Nischayena, with great determination. So that is Ni. Sat. Sat means, Bhagavan says there are three meanings for Sat. Visharana, Gati, Avasadana. Three meanings. Visharana means destruction. Destruction. Gati means movement or goal. Two meanings. Gati. Gati means movement. Gati means goal. Avasadana. Avasadana means loosening. Shithilikana. Loosening, decaying, etc. So Visharana, Gati, Avasadana, three meanings for Sat. Upa means to approach, to go near. Ni means with firm determination, with great sincerity. So Upa, Ni, Sat. So naturally a question may come. Fine, these terms you have understood, but how can Upa, Ni, Sat lead to the meaning of knowledge? Bhagavan, you said Upanishad equal to knowledge. So now you have to prove how using these words, Upa, Ni and Sat, the meanings of these, using the meanings of these, how can you lead to the meaning of knowledge? Now you have to prove that Upanishad equal to knowledge. You have to prove. So therefore Bhagavan says, yes, I will do that. So one small paragraph is written. So what does Bhagavan say? Ye mumukshavaha, those seekers of liberation, drashtanushravika vishaya vitrishnaha, those who are vitrishnaha, totally dispassionate with regard to drashta, what is seen, meaning this world. Anushravika, what is heard, means the other world, Svarga, etc. So here and hereafter, all those pleasures According to these people, Vishaya Vitrishnaha, they are totally dispassionate. They have no desire of anything of this world or the other world. Totally dispassionate. Such people. Upanishad Vidyam Upasadya Upagamya. When such qualified seekers of liberation, when they approach Upasadya, when they go near Upagamya, go near what? Upanishad Vidya. When they go near to this Upanishadic knowledge, how can you go near a knowledge? It is possible only through a teacher. The teacher, the guru, the Brahmavidyāchārya, you have to go near, only then you can get this knowledge. So, such qualified seekers of liberation, they go near this Upanishadic knowledge and then tan nishthataya nischayena shilayanti. They practice this knowledge with great determination, with great sincerity. Then what happens to them? Tesham. In them what happens? Avidyadehe samsāra bījasya visharanāt. Visharana, there is a destruction. There is a destruction that happens in them. What is destroyed? Samsara bījasya, the bīja, the seed of samsara. Samsara bīja is destroyed. The seed of samsara. What is seed of samsara? Seed of samsara means the cause of transmigration, the cause of repeated birth-death cycle. This cause is destroyed. But Bhagavan, what is this cause of transmigration? So Bhagavan says, avidya dehi, it is nothing but avidya, the ignorance about one's own self. It is this ignorance about one's own self which becomes the cause for our repeated birth-death cycle. So this ignorance, this Upanishad Vidya destroys. So in such seekers of liberation who sincerely with great determination they practice this Brahmavidya, in them this ignorance which is the cause of transmigration, this ignorance is destroyed. Visharanat, himsanat, vinashanat, this is destroyed. Iti anena artha yogena vidya Upanishad iti uchyate. Because of these reasons, Upanishad is called Vidya. So, what is Upanishad? Upanishad is that knowledge which destroys the ignorance in us when we practice this knowledge sincerely with great determination after having gained all qualifications. This is the meaning. So Upanishad is that knowledge which destroys the ignorance in us. So that is the meaning Visharana there. Visharana means destruction. And then this knowledge leads us, Gati, it leads us to the ultimate goal, ultimate truth, which is Brahman. So Gati means goal also, Gati means movement also. So as we practice this knowledge, ignorance is destroyed, all the vasanas are loosened, avasadhana, loosening. All the vasanas are loosened, ignorance is destroyed, and then we are taken to, we are led to, we move towards the highest goal of life, the greatest truth in this life, which is Brahman, which is one's own self. So because Upanishad does this, it destroys the ignorance and leads us to the ultimate truth. It makes us know the ultimate truth. So destruction of ignorance is possible only through knowledge. The knowledge of the self is possible only through knowledge. Therefore, Upanishad equal to knowledge. Upanishad equal to understanding. See the way Bhagavan is explaining each term. So what is Upanishad? It is that knowledge which destroys the ignorance in us, and then which leads us to the ultimate truth, which makes us know the ultimate truth, which is one's own self, which is Brahman. Right. Now we enter into the text. So the first mantra, so we find it in page 1 in the Chinmaya mission book, page 1, first mantra. Let us chant that mantra. Ushan havai Vājashravā sarva vedasam dadau tasyaha Nachiketa nama putra asa. This is the first mantra. So the story begins. So the Kathopanishad begins with a story. Now, is it a history? What is the difference between story and a history? History is something which has happened in the past, at a particular time, at a particular place, and somebody has written it. This is called as history. So now a question may come, whatever the story of Nachiketa which is going to come, is it a history or is it a mere story? Because very many times people ask this question. This knowledge which Yamaraj gave to Nachiketa, where did this happen, when did this happen, etc., etc., etc. So therefore, to clear this question, this doubt, Bhagavān Shankarāchārya in the beginning itself he makes it clear, Tatra Ākhyayika. What is going to be explained, the story is not history, but it is a mere story. So this has to be kept in mind. So therefore the question like, where did Yamaraj give this knowledge to Nachiketa, when did he give, etc., these questions have no relevance because it is only a story. But Bhagavan, why is this story mentioned? So Bhagavān Shankarāchārya says, Vidya Stutyartha. To glorify Brahmavidyā, this story is mentioned. So there is a purpose for giving this story. What is the purpose? To glorify Brahmavidyā. So in this story you will find Nachiketa asks for Brahmavidyā, and Yamaraj says, no, don't ask that question. I am ready to give you everything. Name, fame, power, position, wealth, land, long life. You ask anything. I am ready to give you everything. Pleasures of this world, pleasures of other world, everything I am ready to give. But please don't ask this one question. Please don't ask for Brahmavidyā. So then Nachiketa said, no, I want only Brahmavidyā. I don't want anything else. Now here is a student who has kept everything away and he has chosen only for one thing, and that is Brahmavidyā. So this shows the glory of Brahmavidyā. So here is someone who has given up everything else, who has not given any value to anything else other than Brahmavidyā. So therefore it is actually the glorification of Brahmavidyā. So that's why Shankarāchārya says, Vidya Stuti Artha. It is the glorification of this Vidya, and for that purpose this story is given. So not only the glory of Vidya, this story also points out the glory of the student Nachiketa. That also we have to keep in mind. Very many times the virtues of a person can be brought out beautifully well through a story, rather than just enumerating all the virtues. The best way to bring out the virtues necessary for Brahmavidyā is through a story. So this story also, the purpose is to bring out the qualification of a perfect student of Brahmavidyā. Right. Now let us see the word meaning of this verse. Ushan, Kathopanishad starts with this word Ushan. Ushan means Kamayamanaha, meaning desiring. 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 Ha, why? Ha. Ha means it is very well known. Well known. Why? Indeed. Why means indeed. Havai. Now this Havai also has to be understood. So in every language, when we start with a story, there is a particular style used by every language. For example, in English, we normally use this term, long, long ago, once upon a time. This is how the story begins. So every language has its own way of beginning a story. Once upon a time, long, long ago. In the same way, in Sanskrit language also, in the Vedic times, they had a way of starting a story. So this Havai is equivalent to long, long ago, once upon a time. That's the style in which the story begins. Ushan Havai. Vājashravasah, a person named Vājashravas. Sarvavedasam dadau. Dadau, he gave away. What did he give away? Sarvavedasam, all his wealth. So, what is the meaning of this line? Ushan, desiring, once upon a time, desiring, comma, Vājashravas gave away all his wealth. Desiring, Vājashravas gave away all his wealth. Now when you read this line, you just don't understand what is written here. Now this is the style of the Upanishad. Minimum words are used. Minimum words. Unlike the style of the Puranas. In the Puranas, to come to this point, at least 10 chapters might be over. So first they describe the nature's beauty. The mountains they describe, the trees and the rivers and the sun and the sky, all those descriptions come. Then they describe a village. Then they describe one particular house in a village. Then they describe the members of that house. And then finally, they will come to one particular story. This is the style of the Puranas. So minimum 5-10 chapters are used only for that, to prepare the background. But see the style of Upanishad, directly to the point, no beating around the bush. So what is the line here? Ushan, desiring, Vājashravas, he gave away all his wealth. Now this statement, if you read, it is contradicting itself. Why is it so? See, who is the person who gives away all his wealth? A person who is desireless can give away all his wealth. A person who is filled with desires, how can he give away his wealth? It's impossible. In fact, a person who desires so many things, he will only accumulate wealth, he will only amass wealth, hoard wealth. This is what a person who has a lot of desires, this is what a person will do. But here what he said here, what he said is desiring, this person gave away all wealth. Very difficult to understand. So then we have to take refuge at the feet of Bhagavān Shankarāchārya to make us understand what it is written. So therefore, what is said here is this. So there was this person called Vājashravas. Desiring to go to heaven, he gave away all his wealth. This is the meaning. Desiring means what? What is the desire? Desire to go to heaven. So this person Vājashravas, so he had this desire to go to heaven. So then he approached this karma-kāndis, the priests who had knowledge about this. So those priests said, those Purohits said that, see, you will have to do one particular yaga, a particular yajna, and the name of the yajna is Vishvajīta-yāga. So if you do this Vishvajīta-yāga, then definitely you can go to heaven. This is what is said in the Vedas, so you will have to do Vishvajīta-yāga. But the condition is, in this Vishvajīta-yāga, you will have to do this ritual, and in the end you will have to give away all your wealth. This is the condition necessary for successful completion of Vishvajīta-yāga. Are you ready? So then this person, Vājashravā, he thought that it is worth. So therefore he gave away all his wealth, desiring heaven. Now, because very few words are used here, and every word is important. So now Bhagavān Shankarāchārya is trying to squeeze out some meaning out of it, even from the meaning of this name called Vājashravā. So who is this Vājashravā? So Bhagavān Shankarāchārya says, maybe he is the son of Vājashravā. So Vājashravā, his son is Vājashravā. It is something like son of Ganga is Gange, son of Kunti is Kaunte, son of Vivaswan is Vaivasvata. In the same way, the Sanskrit language has this beauty. From the name of the father or mother, they derive the name of the son or daughter. So in the same way, Vājashravā is the father, Vājashravā is the son. So who could be Vājashravā? So Bhagavān Shankarāchārya says, Vājam annam tad dānādi nimittam shravo yashaha yasya saha Vājashravā. It may be possible that this Vājashravā, he had given lot of annadānam. He had distributed food to the poor, the needy, the hungry. Because Vājam means annam and Shrava means fame. So the one who has attained fame through distribution of food, this is the meaning of this term Vājashravā. So therefore Vājashravā means the one who had Vājashravā as his father. Tasya apatyam Vājashravasah. So thus Vājashravā is none other than the son of Vājashravā. And Vājashravā is a person who was very famous in his locality, in his village, for distributing food, etc. Now you will always, you can find that there is one surname called Vājapayee. Our former Prime Minister also was Atal Bihari Vājpayee. Now what is this Vājpayee? That Vaja comes there also. Vaja means annam, Pay means that which we drink. So Vājpayee means the one who has given lot of food and drinks to the poor and the needy. People who do annadānam, for them this name can be used, Vājapayee or Vājashravā. Okay, now, so this is the story. So this person wanted to go to heaven. For that he approached the priest. The priest said that you will have to do Vishvajīta-yāga, and in that you will have to give up all your wealth. So this person agreed, and therefore he gave away all his wealth. Now a question may come, how is it that this person has a desire for heaven, Svarga? Now in the modern times, if you see, there is nobody who has this desire that I should go to heaven. From where did this desire come from? Is it a natural desire in a human being to desire for Svarga? So this has to be understood. The natural desire in every one of us is that we must have a conducive environment around us. This is the natural desire in everyone. So I want good health, I want good education. This is a natural desire. I want to have a good family. I want to have a good house. I should have wealth also, so that living becomes comfortable. I must have good children. So this is a natural desire in every one of us. What is a natural desire? That I must have a conducive environment around me. Not only now, but in the future also. In the present, I must have conducive environment. In the future also, this environment must continue. This is a natural desire, every one of us. Now, what is Svarga? Svarga is that state where the conducive environment is at its best. Such a world is called Svarga. So, what is the speciality of Svarga? How is Svarga different from this world? In Svarga, you have no old age. Now, that description of Svarga will anyway come in Kathopanishad. There is no old age in Svarga. There is no disease in Svarga. There is no death in Svarga. There is no sorrow in Svarga. Food and drink, hunger, thirst, it is never a problem in Svarga. So therefore, Svarga is a place where there is absolutely no sufferings, miseries, sorrow, there is only joy. So such a plane of existence is called Svarga. So if we really see, we all desire such a world. But then why is it that we are not desiring for Svarga? We don't desire for Svarga, maybe because we have no faith in Svarga, that such a plane exists. But Vājashravā is not such a person. He has faith in the Vedas. So therefore, he has faith in whatever is said in the Vedas. So in the Vedas, it is mentioned that such a plane exists and an individual can go there. So Vājashravā has faith in that. So therefore, he desired to go to Svarga. Everyone wants to make the future secure. So naturally this desire comes. After death, where will I go? So if there is a possibility of going to such wonderful worlds where there is absolutely no sorrow, there is only joy, who will not desire it? So it is a natural desire. Because Vājashravā had faith in Vedas, so this desire was natural in him. So what did he do? Sarva Vedasam dadau. He gave away all his wealth. Okay. Then what? See the next line. Tasya Nachiketa nama putra asa. Tasya, to him. Putra asa, there was a son. He had a son. What is the name of his son? Nachiketa. So this Vājashrava's son is Nachiketa. One line is given. Now, we may wonder why all these things are mentioned here. So, in one line you will find 3 generations have been described. This is the style of the Upanishad. One line, 3 generations are described. The grandfather of Nachiketa, he was famous for his charity. The father of Nachiketa, he had tremendous faith in the Vedic rituals, in the Vedic statements, in the priests. So therefore we can say the family of Nachiketa, we can say that this family was a cultured family, a noble family, a charitable family, a family which was rooted in the Vedic tradition. So all these points we get in just these 2 lines. Means what? Nachiketa was born in a prosperous, cultured, noble family. So this family lineage of Nachiketa is pointed out. Now we are reminded of this famous verse from Bhagavad-gītā where it is said, what happens to a Yogabhrashta? So there it is said, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yogabhrashtaha Abhijayate. Suppose you are doing sadhana and you have not attained the highest, but before that the body falls. in the next birth, where are you going to be born? So Bhagavad Gita says, don't worry, such a person who is a Yogabhrashta, while doing sadhana, he passed away in the previous birth. Such a person is born in a cultured family, in a noble family. So at a very young age itself, he gets everything. So that's what Bhagavad Gita describes. So maybe the Upanishad is trying to point out that this Nachiketa was born in a very noble, cultured family. So all these points we will have to bring out through contemplation. You have to churn it, then lot of ideas will come. Because the words used in Upanishad, they are very few. So in those very few, lot of things are packed, lot of ideas are packed. We will have to bring out through thorough contemplation. Right. So desiring heaven, Vājashravā gave away all his wealth. He had a son named Nachiketa. So this is the first mantra. Now we will go to second mantra. So what happened after that? Second mantra is in page 2. Tamha kumaram santam dakshinasu niyamanasu shraddha avivesha saha amanyata. So, now the description. Nachiketa, what was his age? Tamha kumaram santam. So he was a kumara. Kumara means a boy. But what is the definition of a boy? Balaka. What is the definition? So Shankarāchārya says, aprapta janana shaktim. The one who is incapable of reproduction is the definition of kumara. Meaning the one who has not yet reached the age of adolescence, not yet reached the age of puberty. So kumaram, balam. So maybe 7 years, 8 years. So Nachiketa was a small boy, 7 or 8 years old. So then, what was happening? The whole Vishvajīta-yāga was happening in front of him. He was there, present. So all the priests, they came to their house. The yaga successfully got completed. And the last part of the yaga is the yajaman has to give dakshina to all the priests. Gifts have to be given. So now this boy is watching. What is he watching? Dakshinasu niyamanasu. So as dakshina, cows were led away. So the father of Nachiketa, Vājashravā, he was giving cows. So cows were arranged. So as one by one the priests were coming, so these priests were given these cows as dakshina. So they were led away. Niyamanasu means to lead. So these cows were led along with the priests. They were guided. So when this boy saw this, that yajna is over, and as a part of dakshina these cows were being given. So one by one the priests, they carry their cows, they lead their cows and they are going. At that time this boy was seeing all this. What happened to him? Shraddha avivesha. Shraddha entered into him. He became possessed by faith. He became overpowered by faith in the Vedas. And then this faith, saha amanyata, he thought. He started thinking. This faith made him think this way. Which way? That is the next verse. So this little boy, though he was a very small boy, 7 years, 8 years, when he saw this father giving dakshina, and dakshina in the form of cows, and these cows were given to the priests, and one by one the priests, they were taking these cows and they were walking away. So when he saw this, he was overpowered by this faith, and this faith made him think thus. What did he think? So see the next mantra. So in the next mantra, we will discuss this in detail. So page number 6. So this is something which we can chant or sing. Not every mantra can be sung. So last 2 mantras, the first and second, it is of the form of prose, not poetry. But the third one, we can chant in a tune. Pītodaka jagdhatrināha dugdhadoha nirindriyaha ananda namate lokaha tan sagacchati tadadat. Pītodaka jagdhatrināha dugdhadoha nirindriyaha ananda namate lokaha tan sagacchati tadadat. So then this boy saw these cows were given to this priest, and what kind of cows were they? So there is a description of these cows. So these cows were pītodakaha. They have pīta, drunk, udaka, water. These cows were such that they had already drunk water, meaning they cannot drink water anymore, or they cannot walk sufficient distance to drink water. Meaning they were so dilapidated and useless cows, good for nothing cows. This is what the Stuti is trying to convey. Pītodakaha, the cows which cannot drink any water. Jagdhatranaha. Jagdhatranaha means what? Jagdha, that which has already eaten. Trana, grass. The cows which had already eaten grass, which cannot eat grass, which cannot digest this grass. Such old ones. Dugdhadohaha, the cows which were already milked, meaning the cows which cannot give milk anymore. Nirindriyaha, no power in their senses, meaning not capable of reproduction, which cannot bring out calves any further. So such useless, good for nothing cows, these were the cows which were being given to these priests. So this boy, when he saw all this, what did he say, or what did he think within himself? Saha, such a person who is a yajnakarta, who is giving such cows. Taha dadat, who is giving these kinds of cows as dakshina, these kinds of useless, good for nothing cows as dakshina. Ananda namate lokaha, the worlds which are known to be joyless. Ananda, nanda means joy, ananda means joyless. Ananda lokaha, those worlds which are joyless. Joyless worlds means what? Naraka, nothing but hell. Ananda namate lokaha tan gacchati, he goes to such worlds. A person who gives such cows as dakshina, where does he go? He will go to Naraka only. This is the thought which was inside the mind of Nachiketa. Now here, we will have to see the story in detail to understand what is happening here. See, Vājashravas had this desire to go to heaven, to go to Svarga. But then he had no other choice but to do Vishvajīta-yāga. He was not doing it out of joy, because he had to do it, because he was compelled by his desire. He was doing it. But the necessary condition of this yaga is you have to give away all the wealth. Now what did Vājashravas do? He tried to play smart. This is what we have to understand from this. What did he do? He thought for himself, see, all my wealth I will have to give away if I am supposed to do, if I am going to do Vishvajīta-yāga. But then the, loopholes. This is what we do. We try to find loopholes in every law. That's how people evade tax. They first of all study the law through some auditor. So the auditor helps us to find the loopholes in the law, and then using these loopholes, people convert black money into white money and they do everything to evade tax. So this is what is happening in the modern times. In those times also the same thing happened. So what did Vājashravā do? He thought, see, only my wealth I have to give away. So what is the best thing to see to it that wealth remains with me? At the same time, legally I have given up everything. How can I do that? So what he did was, whatever good things were there in his name, his property, his wealth, his good healthy cows, all those things, goody things, he wrote in the name of Nachiketa. He wrote a will. In that will, he wrote all good things in the name of Nachiketa, and all useless things he wrote in his own name. So he was trying to be legally correct. Technically he is correct. So now, according to the law, according to the ritual, you have to give away only your wealth. And now Vājashravā was ready, because all useless things are there in his name, so he was ready to give away all those wealth. So he wrote all these useless cows in his name. So now what is he giving away? He is giving away all these useless cows. This Nachiketa was watching. So double benefit. Vājashravā. On one side, you have retained all your wealth with you. On the other side, legally you are correct, you have given away all wealth. So therefore, for the future, you get Svarga. For the present, you have all your wealth here. For the future, you get the wealth of Svarga. This was the idea of Vājashravā. So he tried to play smart. He was legally right, he was technically right. From the worldly standpoint, he was absolutely right. But when Nachiketa saw this, now see the intelligence of Nachiketa. A little boy, 7 years, 8 years. But see the way he was thinking. According to him, this is not a punya karma, this is only a papa karma. Because in this action, there is no selflessness, there is only selfishness. My father has kept everything good with himself, useless things he is giving away. It is nothing but an act of selfishness. What is important is not the external act of ritual. That alone is not important. There is another aspect which is very important, and that is your internal intentions, motives, the moral purity within. Those factors are also important. See the understanding of Nachiketa. My father is making use of the helpless condition of these priests. Because according to the Shastra, a Brahmana is not supposed to argue or reject when some dakshina is given to him. He is supposed to accept everything with prasada buddhi. He is not supposed to, bargain according to Shastra. Because Brahmanas are considered to be the most cultured, noble ones. So whatever comes as dakshina, he is supposed to accept without questioning, without grumbling, without complaining. He has to accept everything with Ishvara prasada buddhi. So he is choiceless when dakshina is given to him. Now, Vājashravas is exploiting this helpless situation of a Brahmana by giving all useless cows. It is an act of exploitation. So therefore, definitely it is a sinful action. In fact, what is Vājashravas doing? He is getting rid of his burden by giving away all these cows, isn't it? Because these cows, you will have to wash them, clean them, bathe them, house them, feed them, treat them when they fall sick. And all for what? For nothing, because these cows can never give anything to you. So all your effort is wasted. So it is nothing but burden. So now Vājashravas is clearing away his burden, relieving his burden. But he is not thinking that whomever he is giving, they are getting burdened. They are the people who with great difficulty they did yaga, these rituals, etc. This complicated ritual of Vishvajīta-yāga, they are the ones who did. And in turn what you are giving? You are only giving pain and suffering to them by giving these cows. Now this shows insensitivity. Person who has done something good to you, what are you giving back? You are giving only pain and suffering. You are only burdening them with such kinds of useless cows. Now this is a papa karma, a sinful action. So in this act there is exploitation, there is insensitivity, there is selfishness, and there is also forgetfulness of God. Because it is the Lord who is the giver of the results of action. Karma phala data is Bhagavān. Now you forget that Bhagavān is right there in our heart, knowing everything in us. The purity of motive, he knows you can cheat everyone, but you cannot cheat the Lord. So there is forgetfulness of Lord also involved in this yaga. So exploitation is there, selfishness is there. Narrow-mindedness is there, insensitivity is there, forgetfulness of the Lord is there. How can such an action be meritorious action? It is only a sinful action. How can such a sinful action give you Svarga? Impossible. A sinful action can give only Naraka, only hell to you. See the analysis of this boy. My father is desiring Svarga, but whatever he is doing here, it is only preparing him to go to Naraka, hell. Because his actions, though externally it may appear to be a meritorious action, a punya karma, though externally it may appear to be so, but really speaking, this karma is not a punya karma, it is only papa karma. Now this is called Shraddha. So in the earlier mantra it was said, Shraddha Abhivesha, he was overpowered by Shraddha. What is that Shraddha? This is the Shraddha. Whatever scriptures have said, it is absolutely right. But then in the letter and spirit, we must follow the scriptures. Only then we will get the result which we desire. This is Shraddha, faith. So such people who do such papa karmas, where will they go? Ananda, Ananda Loka, those joyless worlds. Joyless world means Naraka, hell. You are giving pain and suffering to others. So what will come back to you is only pain and suffering. As you sow, so shall you reap is the strict law of this universe. My father through this ritual is giving only joylessness to others. So therefore, how is it possible that he will get joy by giving pain to others? It is impossible. There is a strict law of nature. Now see the wisdom of this boy. He has so much of faith. He has so much of clarity with regard to understanding about the working of the world. And that too at such a young age, 7 years, 8 years. The boy is very clear. Now the interesting thing to be noted is, His father also has Shraddha in the Vedas. The son also has Shraddha in the Vedas. But see the difference in Shraddha, the quality of faith. Very many people, they don't have any Shraddha, have any faith in the Vedas. That is majority. Even those people who have Shraddha in the Vedas, who have faith in the Vedas, their faith is like the faith of Vājashravas. What kind of faith? You just do something externally and that is enough. This is the kind of faith. See? Not proper but imperfect faith or partial faith. Without proper understanding. But see the kind of faith which Nachiketa has. According to him, it is not just the external karma which you do, which is going to give results. A very important role has to be played by your thoughts, your motives, your intentions. Your intentions also must be pure in order to get good results. So this verse shows the wisdom of this boy, his understanding about life, his firm abidance in this great law of this universe, that unless you do good, good will never happen to you. If you want good results, then your actions also must be good. So this boy has that firm faith, that Shraddha is there. Shraddha, that which you consider to be true is called Shraddha. Shraddha. Shrat means truth. Dha means dharana. What is that which is supporting the truth? Shraddha. What is that which you consider to be true? This is the meaning of Shraddha. So what is the understanding of Nachiketa? This is the verse. So what did he find there? He found that my father is not preparing to go to heaven. Unknowingly, he is preparing to go to hell. Anandaloka. Now what is his responsibility as a son? Can he keep quiet? Now here comes another brilliant aspect of this boy. What is the role of Nachiketa in such a situation? What should he do? The son is defined in Sanskrit, putraha. So the definition is pum nama naraka trayate iti putraha. Who is son? Son is the one who saves his father from going to hell. Pum nama naraka trayate iti putraha. So what is the role of Nachiketa now? Now he has to do everything to prevent his father from going to hell. Something he has to do. Now can he go and advise his father? Instruct his father? Scold his father? He can't do that. Because his son. A son has no right to give advice to his own father. There is no right. Especially in that gathering, so many people are there. So now he is helpless. But at the same time, he has to do something. It is his duty to save his father. He cannot just go and break the rules of conduct laid down by the scriptures. So now what should Nachiketa do? So suppose we are there in his situation, what we would have done? It is a very interesting topic to be thought over. So what Nachiketa does, we will see in the next class. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ.
जय जय शंकर जय अभयंकर. जय 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 परमेश्वरा. जय जय शंकर जय अभयंकर. जय 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 परमेश्वरा. कैलासवास कनकसभेश. काशी विश्वेश काडुमल्लेश. कैलासवास कनकसभेश. काशी विश्वेश काडुमल्लेश. गंगा जटाधर गौरी मनोहर. गंगा जटाधर गौरी मनोहर. हर 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 सदा शिवा. हर 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 सदा शिवा. जय जय शंकर जय अभयंकर. जय 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 परमेश्वरा. चिदंबरेश श्मशानवास. चिदंबरेश श्मशानवास. पन्नगभूषण परात्परा शिव. चन्द्रजटाधर उमा महेश्वरा. चन्द्रजटाधर उमा महेश्वर. हर 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 सदा शिवा. हर 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 सदा शिवा. जय जय शंकर जय अभयंकर. जय 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 परमेश्वरा. विश्वेश्वरा जगदीश्वरा.